Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad. My advice to everybody is, Shaykh Khatri used to say, learn your fard ayn and then do whatever you want to do. And I was noticing just from a lot of the questions and also from a lot of the private meeting with people, a lot of your questions can be resolved very easily if you get some general knowledge on your deen. And I said yesterday that I don't think the religion intended for everybody to be a scholar in that sense of somebody who dedicates their life just to knowledge, because the world would not work if that was the case. Allah's made people, He puts different loves in different people's hearts. Some people love grammar. Most people hate it, but some people actually love it. And because you need grammarians. And He put love of mathematics in some people's hearts. Most people don't like math, but some people, they love it. It's their life. And that's because you need mathematicians. So whatever Allah put in your heart that you love, as long as it's halal, there's a hikmah, there's a divine wisdom in that. And we should be thankful for that. So everybody that you see who's in some way doing something positive, that's a blessing from Allah. They're a blessing. Everybody that you see out there is possibly someone that you owe something to. You might not know it. You might walk past a person that delivered the milk that you bought in the store. You just don't know. Everybody out there is potentially somebody who you actually are indebted to, and vice versa. So people, I think if they would at least take some time out of their busy lives to give to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for acquisition of basic aqeedah, a lot of your problems will be resolved by just learning basic aqeedah. And then also a basic fiqh text of the ibadat in particular. And then if you get married, I mentioned yesterday, you should learn the rules of marriage, both the ahkam of zawaj and the ahkam of talaq, because that's actually part of marriage, knowing divorce. And then also the mas'uliyat and wajibat wal mas'uliyat, the rights and responsibilities, the huquq az-zawjain, the rights of the spouses. So that if there's any debates or anything like that, your spouses know who they owe, who's in the right and who's in the wrong, and problems will be resolved. And then also a basic text on akhlaq, like matarat al-qulub, of purifying the heart and working on the heart and working on those things that you need in order to change yourselves and your condition. And then the best thing is to find good company, find some brothers and some for the sisters, some sisters that you're comfortable with, that have the same mashrab that you do, because you don't want to be around people that are arguing. Imam Malik radhiyallahu anhu, he didn't argue. He wouldn't argue about religion. He wouldn't debate. It is as simple as that. The Raghib al-Isfahani says in al-Dhari'ah that al-jidal makruhun fi haqq al-ulama muharramun fi haqq al-awam. That argumentation is makruh for ulama because it leads to bughd and shahna, it leads to animosity and enmity, but it's haram for common people. It's actually haram to argue about religion. It's haram. I mean, understand that. That's a hukm of the ulama. It's haram for you to sit around in some MSA and argue about Ash'ari or Maturidi or Salafi or Wahhabi or Sufi, or you have no authority to do that, and you're actually accruing wrong actions. If you want to find out, then you have to study. My suggestion is that you take very seriously the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, in which he said, "Be with the majority." There's a hikmah in that. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Ad-dhi'bu ya'kulu min al-qasiyah," that the wolf will eat the sheep that goes away from the flock. Man shadda finnar, the one who deviates from the majority deviates into the hellfire. So the majority of ulama are very clear about what Islam is. There hasn't been any serious debates. It's following one of the schools that are valid, which does not negate talfiq, joining between the schools with the conditions that are laid out by the ulama. And I don't, the Shia, I consider them, they're our brothers in the religion. It's an old debate, and I'm not going to resolve it. If the greatest ulama in the history of Islam couldn't resolve it, we're not going to resolve it. We shouldn't be under that illusion, and we should just have peaceful coexistence. They have their mosques, and if they come to our mosques, marhaban, they're welcome to pray with us, and we shouldn't get into fights or arguments with them. We should certainly not discuss the issues that create the animosity about Sahaba or Aisha radiallahu anhu or any of those things. And if you don't ask, you won't have a problem. If you start asking, you have problems. Sidi Ahmed Zarruq said that the door to every evil is asking how so-and-so's doing. He said that's the door. Miftahu kulli shar is saying kayfa fulan, how so-and-so doing, because it opens the door of ghiba, of backbiting, and all those things. So you just don't want to do that. People have to learn fard ayn. They have to go and learn from valid scholars, and my advice about valid scholars are the people that are following what has been the majority of ulama following for the last several hundred years. And the majority is they follow one of the four madhab, and if they have talfiq, it's with the conditions of tawfiq, of going to other madhab. It's done with the conditions, and that they follow one of the sound aqidah of the Muslims, which is either the aqidah of Abu Hasan al-Ash'ari radiyallahu anhu, or the aqidah with his school. It's not just limited to his opinions. Just like Maliki school is not just limited to the opinions of Imam Malik radiyallahu anhu, or the Hanafi school, the opinions of Abu Hanifa. Sometimes the school goes against the opinions of the founder of the school, which is a proof it's not taqlid amma. That's one of the ridiculous arguments of the people that attack these schools, is they say, they just muta'assib li Malik. And it's not true, because there's positions in the Maliki madhab that concur with the Shafi'i madhab that go against Imam Malik's position. They actually take the position of the other madhab because they think the dalil is stronger. So the argument of that is a false argument. People shouldn't listen to that. Most of these arguments that people give are sophistical arguments. They're based on unsound reasoning. And somebody gave me a paper the other day, and it was just for their own clarification, attacking the Ash'ari and the Maturidi madhab. And it's fallacious reasoning. I don't know what else to tell you. It's just that a lot of it is very poor, shoddy reasoning, based on taking things out of context, based on attacking people for things that were necessary at given times. So, and then the third, which I don't deny, some of the ulama would disagree with this, but the third is a Athari school, like people like Ibn Abdul Barr radiyallahu anhu, who were not Ash'ari or Maturidi, but they were Athari, but they were not like these people claim now. And that school is closest to the Aqidah of Imam al-Tahawi radiyallahu anhu, which is a very basic, simple Aqidah that goes into no speculative theology. Those are what the Ummah agreed on. And then finally, the third aspect of the deen is ihsan. Ihsan has an outward aspect, which is akhlaq, of tahdhib al-akhlaq, and then it has an inward aspect, which is the ahwal and the maqamat, which are the states and stations of the sadiqeen, of people on an inward path to Allah. And I talked yesterday about the path of salvation, which is the majority of Muslims are on, of just trying to get salvation in the next world, and then the path of sanctification, which is to actually have ma'rifah in this lifetime before you exit the world. And that is for people with the high himmah. Sabiqun sabiqun ulaika al-muqarrabun. Those are the people that Allah says are the outstrippers. Sabaqa al-mufarradun. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned a group of people, and he was asked who they were, and he said, al-mustahtiruna bi dhikrillah. People that are intoxicated, that are addicted to the remembrance of Allah. They're doing it constantly. And my advice inshallah is to find good company. What I was saying is to find that good company of people of the same mashrab, so that you don't fall into disputation and argumentation. And if people want to argue with you, you say what Imam Malik radiyallahu anhu said is لَيْسَ الْجِدَارُ مِنَ الدِّينِ فِي شَيْءٍ. Argumentation is not part of the religion. Simple as that. That's what he said. It's not part of our religion. If there's any jidal, it's supposed to be with non-Muslims. It's not, and then it's billati hiya ahsan, in the best way. تفضل.